Hi, my name is Yin Gao, and welcome to Dr. Gao's classroom. I'm a professional philosopher, and I love classical Chinese poetry. I have been teaching and translating classical Chinese philosophies for many years, and classical Chinese poetry for the last few years. I would love to share my knowledge on these subjects with you. Your enjoyment is my command. Today, I'm going to introduce a new genre of poetry called 边塞诗, or the poetry from the frontier. As I mentioned in my videos on Du Fu, the Tang Dynasty emperors were quite ambitious and adopted an expansionist international policy. They attacked the Tibet, the Mongols, and small countries to the south and west of their empire. Young men from aristocrats background or land-owning gentry class could earn titles and land by military achievement. Therefore, they supported this policy. Even someone as gentle as Wang once harbored a military ambition when he was young, as he expressed in his 4 poems in the title of 少年行. Here is my video translating these poems. The emperors during the early period of the Tang Dynasty awarded their generals lavishly with titles and land, as well as political power. Many of the scholar officials supported this expansionist international policy and composed poetry expressing their ambition and loyalty to the emperors. There were 4 scholar officials known for their poetry about war heroes, and military achievement, as well as the terrible impacts brought by wars. Poetry on such topics were labeled as 边塞诗. The 4 best-known poets for 边塞诗 are Wang Changling, Wang Zhihuan, Gao Shi, and Chen Shen. Today, I would like to start with Wang Changling. I'll talk a bit about Wang Changling's life and then translate 2 of his poems. If you're new to my channel, please check out my other videos on classical Chinese poetry, philosophies, and medical literature. If you like the contents of my videos, please click the like button and subscribe my channel. I also offer one-to-one online lessons on these subjects or any material I mentioned in my videos. So if you would like to read those classical texts, please contact me. Here's my email. Otherwise, please enjoy my video. Now, let's talk about Wang Changling. We know very little about Wang Changling except a few basic facts recorded for all officials. He was born at the capital Chang'an in 698 AD. Unlike most of the scholars of his day, he was a farm boy from a rather poor background. When he was 23, he went to Songshan or Song Mountain, a Taoist resort with many Taoist temples, to learn about Taoist religion and martial art. Around 724 AD, he went to the northern frontier to join the army. Many of his poems about the frontier were composed during this period of time, including the following 2 poems. Here is a calligraphy work of the first poem. I haven't shown you calligraphic work for a while. Here's a beautiful work. Now let me just read it for you. 秦时明月汉时关，万里长征人未还。但是龙城飞将在，不教胡马度阴山. Now let's look at the first 2 lines. 秦时明月汉时关. Qin refers to the Qin dynasty. 时 means time. So Qin Shi refers to the time of the Qin dynasty, which would be nearly 1,000 years ago from the Tang dynasty. Ming means bright. Yue means moon. Han means Han dynasty. Shi again means time. and Hanshi refers to the Han Dynasty. Guan means fortress. 万里 means 10,000. Chang means long. Zheng can be interpreted as either conquer, as in the phrase of 征战, meaning conquer, or a long journey, as in the phrase of 征途, a long journey. Here it is used in both senses as a conquering journey of the generals and soldiers. 人 means person, but here refers to the generals and soldiers. 魏 means not. 还 means return. So the two lines read, a Qin Dynasty moon shines on the Han Dynasty fortress. I have traveled 10,000 miles on my conquering journey, not once returned home. These two lines, by simply mentioning the two dynasties from hundreds years ago, the poet places his reader in a historically significant spot. He reminds us that this fortress has been a battlefield for hundreds of years. Moreover, he has traveled tens of thousands of miles fighting for his country, had never been home, and today he is making history by simply being there. 但是龙城飞将在，不教胡马度阴山。但是 means if only, 龙 means dragon, 城 means fortress. 龙城 refers to a fortress at the northwest frontier. We are not sure where the fortress is located today, but it was somewhere in the northwest between the Han Empire and the Hun Empire, where the great Han general Wei Qing defeated the Hun. 飞将 historically refers to a Han general Li Guang, who was known for his extraordinary archery skills, but with the reference of the dragon fortress, it is probably referring to Wei Qing, the Han general. So we translate the term as Wei Qing. 不 means not, 教 means let, 胡 means hun, ma refers to the cavalry, du means cross. Yinshan is a mountain range stretched from the Gobi Desert to the Inner Mongolia in northern China, which was the northern frontier of the Tang Dynasty. So the two lines read, if only General Wei Qing was still somewhere in the Dragon Fortress, he would not have let the Hun cavalry cross the Yin Mountain. The poet cites the great Han general Wei Qing's military prowess and achievement to express his loyalty to the emperor and determination of defending the empire. This sentiment was shared by many poets among the early Tang poets who strongly support this aggressive international policy. The next poem makes this sentiment even more clear. The Tang army not only had a high morale, but also were excited by the opportunity to defend their empire and win military achievement. Now, let me read the second poem in Chinese first. 流马新跨白玉鞍，战罢沙场月色寒。城头铁骨声犹震，匣里金刀血未干。Now, let's look at the first two lines. 流马新跨白玉鞍，战罢沙场月色寒。流马 refers the black-maned red horse. 新 means new. 跨 literally means step over something, as in the phrase of 跨越, step over. But here it means to put a saddle across the back of a horse. So we translate it as equipped. 白 means white. 玉 means jade. 鞍 means saddle. 白玉鞍 refers to a saddle decorated with white jade. 战 means battle. 罢 means stop. 沙 means sand. 场 means open space. 沙场 refers to battlefield because During the early Han Dynasty, most of the battles were fought between the Chinese and the Hun along the western frontier in the semi-arid land along the sand dunes. So 沙场 become a fixed phrase, specifically refers to battlefield. 月 means moon, 色 means color. 月色 refers to the moonlight. Han means cold. We also reversed the order of the two lines to make sense in English. So the two lines read, the battle stops on the battlefield in cold moonlight. I ride off on a black-maned red horse, newly equipped with a white jet saddle. 城头铁骨声犹震，匣里金刀血未干。城 means war. 头 means top. 铁 means metal. 鼓 means drum. 声 means sound. 油 means steel. 震 means resonate. 铁鼓 refers to the metal drum that makes a different sound from the drums with height. These two kinds of drums were used to issue different orders in the battlefield. The sound of drum with height means charge on, while the sound of metal drum means retreat. Here it means they just defeated the enemy and withdraw back in their fortress while the sound of the metal drum was still ringing in the air. 匣 means skybird. 里 means inside. 金刀 refers to the sword. 血 means blood. 胃 means not. 干 means dry. So the two lines read, the sound of the metal drum resonated from the top of the wall, and my sword, still wet with blood, returned to its scabbard. With passion to serve his empire, Wang Tangling took the civil service examination and passed in 727 AD and got a low-rank position. 4 years later, he took another exam for promotion and got a very good result. However, without a powerful patron, he only got a slightly better position in Henan province and stayed as a low-rank official for a long time. Furthermore, in 738 AD, he was sent to exile at Guangdong province because he was sympathetic to the then dismissed premier Zhang Jiuling. At the time, Guangdong was regarded as the most remote and poor region. He was pardoned in 740 AD and visited Meng Haoran on his way back. My next video will be about Meng Haoran, so you can see what an interesting character Meng Haoran was. Anyway, Meng Haoran was very happy to see Wang Tangling and threw a party to welcome Wang Tangling. At the time, Meng Haoran suffered a boil on his back and his physician warned him against drinking and seafood. But Meng Haoran was so happy to see a friend and completely ignored his physician's warning and had wine and fish. Meng Haoran soon died because of the boil on his back. Wang Tangling felt very bad because of this. He was only cheered up when he ran into Li Bai a few days later. They spent a few days together talking and composing poetry. They each composed a poem for each other before they parted. In 756, Wang Tangling was murdered by the governor of Bozhou, Lü Qiuxiao. It is not clear why Lü Qiuxiao murdered Wang Tangling. Some historians believed that Lü was jealous of Wang Tangling's talent, but we might never know what was the reason. It is such a pity that this great poet had a very hard life and suffered a horrible death. However, even during his lifetime, Wang Tangling was praised by many for his extraordinary talent. Many great poets of his time, such as Li Bai, Meng Haoran, and Wang Wei, composed poems praising Wang Tangling's poetry. he was regarded as the best poet for 边塞诗 or poetry from the frontier. There are many reasons why Wang Changling was so highly regarded by his contemporary poet. His extraordinary poetic talent certainly played a significant role in building up his fame, but the passion, the courage, even the excitement to fight for one's empire expressed in his poetry certainly were shared by many of the ambitious young aristocrats and officials who were eager to show off their military prowess and realize their political ambitions. It was quite interesting that the tone of the poetry from the frontier quickly changed between the 720s to the 750s when the empire was dragged down more and more by the constant wars against its neighboring countries. In my next few videos, I'm going to introduce several more poems from the frontier to show the changing tones in these poems. If you're new to my channel, please check out my other videos on classical Chinese poetry, philosophies, and medical literature. If you like the contents of my videos, please click the like button and subscribe my channel. I also offer one-to-one online lessons on these subjects. So if you would like to read the original text, please contact me. Here's my email address. Otherwise, thank you for viewing my video and I'll see you next time.